Waldo Politics is now live streaming, just chatting, Elon, empathy, Iran, and Palantir. Getting started soon. Toss any links to cool stories into the Discord.
Oh, hi. Hello. How you doing? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. How's everybody doing tonight? I am doing great. It is sunny outside, and at my house, when it's sunny outside.
Waldop 3 drama.
Do you know what that means? It means there are just Bulbasaurs everywhere. Look, a Bulbasaur, a Bulbasaur. They're everywhere. I don't know where they're coming from. They just pop up out of nowhere. And then there's another Bulbasaur right here. They're just everywhere. And then, look, there's one. He's right behind me, isn't he? Look at him. Look at that Bulbasaur. Look at him. And then there's another one. There's a big one over here. Look at this. Look at that guy. It's ridiculous. I can't stand this. This place.
That wasn't an Ivysaur.
It's an Ivysaur. I know. This one's a little older. When the sun comes out around here, I just get Bulbasaurs just flying out everywhere. They crawl up out of the woodwork. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. And they can stay over there where they belong. But yeah, I don't know if that happens at your house, but it happens at mine. There he is. Look at him. Sitting back here judging me, eyeballing me all day long. Can I see this one? Can we see this one? Yeah, he's big. He's huge. Look at him. Look at the size of this guy. He's giant. He's going to get me when I'm not looking. Anyway, how's summer going for you? Let's see. What is today? Today is Wednesday. So what I've got to do is I've got a few links. I've got a few things to talk about. I've got a couple of stories to think about and then turn into YouTube videos. And then the tinfoil hat is right here. It's waiting for me. It's ready for me. We're going to have a very important message from the man himself, Alex Jones, the man himself. We're going to look at one of his clips lately, and we're going to talk about it. It's going to be a good time. We will see what he has to say, and it's gonna not be what you think. Like, I'll save it for the bit when it happens, but you are not prepared for what he's gonna say. You're not even ready. But anyway, we'll get to that. I got to bait you into sticking around to the end of the stream. So let's get started. Let's go. What is happening in the politics news? Let's look at the politics. I guess I could do the ramble at the start. Going over here to the Discord, if you got fun links, swing on over to the YouTube page. Going over to the YouTube link. If you'd like to watch the old videos, I take all these streams, I smush them down into little, smaller, little bite-sized bits, and you can watch those on the main channel, or you can go to the live tab and then just watch me raw dog it all over the internet with no cuts and no breaks and nothing to stop me from looking and sounding silly. If I look and sound too silly on the edited versions, I just chop that out, But if you want to get all the steamy, raw, and uncensored Waldo, you can do that. It sounds gross. On the live tab. Anywho, what are we doing? What am I doing with my life? I am talking about the internet and politics. Let's go. Where's the button? I gotta go here. There we go. To the button. Window capture. There it is. Then we go here. Then we go to there. Bam. It's Pastor Mike Johnson, everybody. He's going to say something silly, and we're going to feel sad for him. Let's go.
You mentioned that you talked to Elon on Monday, who made this 180. What do you think changed? Why do you think he's coming out against this now? And have you spoken to the president and Elon since the infamous tweet?
Well, I'll tell you, I called Elon last night and he didn't answer, but I hope to talk to him today. I mean, it's not, it's very friendly and we've laughed about our differences on policy before. I'm not upset about this, and
he's upset about this. Anybody who says I'm not upset about this, probably upset about this. Oh, poor little baby, Will Muffin. Ain't he sad? Elon didn't call him. He called Elon, and Elon didn't pick up. Sad. He misses his friend. Poor little guy. Elon won't talk to him. What is Elon upset about? Well, he's not talking to Pastor Mike Johnson because the spending bill is spending money, which is what the government does. Elon doesn't know that, and he's kind of dumb, and he works with dumb people, and this guy's dumb and a liar, and this guy's a dumb liar, and the president is a dumb liar. So, like, it really does get complicated. The billionaire is still going nuclear, and Trump's spending bill is squarely in the blast zone. He hates the new spending bill. Elon Musk continued his rampage against Donald Trump's spending bill on Tuesday night, setting the stage for an ugly showdown with the president's faithful. Mammoth spending bills are okay. I still can't do an Elon voice. I don't think anybody can, but I'm going to try. Mammoth spending bills are bankrupting America. He wrote, sharing a graphic depiction rising national debt over the past 3 decades. Enough, he added. He also responded to the 100 emoji to an ex-user. He wrote, Musk had reminded everyone it's not about right versus left. It's about establishment versus the people. And then he posted an American flag emoji. I'm glad that the richest man in the world just responds to 100s and with American flags. The Lord strengthens Elon one last time to push the pillars of Congress over to bring government crashing down. What? Let's see. He didn't let up in the hours that followed, sharing posts from Republican lawmakers who publicly agreed with him.
I would be mad that I'd have to check in with an unelected billionaire for anything related to policy.
Yeah, you'd think that Mike Johnson wouldn't like that, but he works for the oligarchs now. You see, they gave Mike Johnson gave up all his power for rich people to get what they want, and the Senate gave up all their power to the rich people so they could all get what they want. And the president just works for all these rich people and is one himself. So they don't really do anything. What would you say you do here, Mike Johnson? So I don't think it's much. Then he turned up the heat on Republicans who supported the bill, suggesting that they booted from Congress in the midterm elections. In November next year, we fire all politicians who betrayed the American people, he wrote. House Speaker Mike Johnson fired back, telling reporters Musk's criticism was terribly wrong. Mike Johnson. It's wrong. Well, okay, great. As of May, the national debt stood at $36 trillion, a figure Musk highlighted in the graphic he shared. Musk's commitment amplified rifts among Republicans, generating a mixed reaction from GOP lawmakers.
From his donors.
Who? Johnson? Maybe. Democrats have been broadly united in opposing the bill, which they say would hike the national debt while gutting essential social programs. And that's the worst part. It's not like we're raising all this debt to get something. If they were raising the debt and we would get some shit out of it, maybe it's worth it. But we're just cutting his But again, he's too dumb to know that. Musk and I agree with each other. Okay, good job, Hakeem Jeffries, the lamest piece of shit to ever run in the Democratic Party. The Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, on Tuesday, Elon Musk and I agree with each other. Good job. Man, Hakeem, you're really fucking knocking it out of the park. Jesus Christ. You could say something incendiary, but you could come onto the internet and call him a goddamn moron like I do, you see? And then that gets people's attention. But you don't get ahead in the Democratic Party by being controversial or making people pay attention to you. No. You get really far in the Democratic Party by being the most silent person you can, saying as little as possible, doing as little as possible. Don't do anything important. Don't do anything big. Don't do anything wild. Bring in lots of money by convincing all the people that you're just going to sit completely still. Hakeem Jeffries, I suspect, goes out to meet with the lobbyists, and they come to him, and he tells everyone that he's just going to sit completely still once elected and not do anything or move anywhere or vote on anything or say anything. And then they just pour out the dollars. They just empty their wallets and they're like, yes, finally. This guy gets it. Finally, that's exactly what we want from a Democrat. Just sit completely still, do nothing, say nothing, do not move. Why am I getting booped on... What is that? Discord, shut up. What is happening on Discord? Is it even my Discord?
Sounds like Discord.
Yeah, it is, but I don't recognize it, and they're not in my Discord. Is it one of the many, many, many Discords that I never use? What if I close Discord? Will it shut up? Hey, it did. I closed the Discord, and it shut up. I don't think they were in my Discord. They were in somebody else's. I just have the notifications turned on somehow for some reason. I don't entirely know why.
Dino dance.
Yeah. I have no idea what that was about. I'll look into it later. Son of a bitch. There it is again. All right. I have so many Discords. I don't have any idea which one it is that's blowing me up. I really don't. Oh, this is so much fun.
Sick techno beat.
Robot dance. Do a robot dance. Which Discord are you in? Okay. I think I found it. Just gonna disconnect from that one, I think. It's not even here. Oh, there it is. Mute. Server. Okay. That should do it. I think that'll do it. All right, then we'll go back to mine. Okay, yeah. Maybe that'll do it. Anywho, the hell were we talking about? Something about Hakeem Jeffries. Oh yeah, okay. Let's go back to good old Hakeem doing a bang up job. It's a dramatic escalation of tensions between Musk and Trump world that had been bubbling amid the Tesla founder's departure last week from his brief headline-grabbing government role. As the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, Musk, Trump's top campaign donor, and his handpicked warrior for government cuts, led an aggressive and tumultuous charge to slash federal spending, even though he didn't. He didn't do any of that. On his way out, he offered a comparatively muted critique of the bill, saying he was disappointed with it and that it undermines the work of the Doge team, because it does. The Doge team, they suck, and they're stupid, and they don't know what they're talking about. They promised to find all this fraud, waste, and abuse, and there wasn't any. So they just started firing people. Here's the issue. Yes, that rollover spending, but now we don't have a government, to do stuff. And then we can't do stuff because we don't have the government, we don't have the people. And things go wrong and things get broken down. And the things that Congress said we should spend money on, that gets broken and then you have to do the things that Congress said, because that's the kind of the law. It's what they do. They say, here, spend this money on this. And if Elon cuts all the people out, then they don't get to spend the money on that. That doesn't mean that you saved that money, Elon. None of that makes any sense. You don't know how the government works. But as usual, conservatives don't actually know what these things are or how they work. So they just assume, they just guess and pull it out of their ass. They see a giant number like a $2 trillion spending bill, and they say, well, clearly that's all waste and fraud and abuse. And it's not. Sorry, guys, it's just not. So when he got in there, couldn't find any, he just started chopping off limbs of a living tree, saying, I'm fixing this tree. No, you're making it worse, man. You're killing it. And if things go wrong, you throw out too many of the living limbs and then the tree dies. That's not good. I would be sad. That would be bad. I don't want the government to die. I want it to function properly to help us all out. Then this kind of, what was the other thing? They didn't know how it worked. Laws. Donnie doesn't know how laws work. So he doesn't realize that you can plan out your decrees, your executive orders. You can ask a lawyer, hey, will this get shot down in court? And they can look at it, they can research it and say, yes, that'll get shot down in court, or no, that won't get shot down in court. He doesn't know that you can do that. He just thinks that laws are decided willy-nilly by a judge, and depending on whether they vote red or vote blue. That's how he thinks the law works. He doesn't comprehend what it is or how it works, or that there are books of law written down that you can read ahead of time. He doesn't know any of this. There was something else I was thinking about that they didn't know how it worked, but I can't remember what it is now. And then Donnie says, of course, the insane things that don't make any sense. Best May in 30 years, whatever. Doesn't mean anything. Isn't real. Caroline Leavitt also brushed off Musk's criticism when asked about how in an earlier press conference, and I think we have that right here. Here we go. Let's listen to her.
Beautiful bill. You said recently that it is, quote, blatantly wrong to say that it adds to the deficit. You essentially said that
it does add to the deficit. It definitely does. All the people who can count have decided that when you put all the numbers together, it adds to the deficit. It definitely does. When Pastor Mike Johnson and Donald Trump tell you it doesn't, they're lying.
Estimate from the Congressional Budget Office and other scorekeepers you believe are wrong. But Republicans like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul disagree. They are saying that it will add to the deficit. That is their concern. Is the White House's position that those two Republican senators are, quote, blatantly wrong?
It is. Those senators, it's not news that they disagree with this president on policy, and the president has vocally called them out for it and for their not having their facts together. I would add the Congressional Budget Office has been historically wrong. In fact, they predicted the Trump tax cuts from the president's first term in 2017. Their prediction was wrong by $500 billion. Those tax cuts had nearly $500 billion more of revenue than the Congressional Budget Office scored. And I don't
believe her. I think that they are lying. She is Caroline Leavitt, so it's in her name twice.
Also point out, I don't think many people know this, there hasn't been a single staffer in the entire Congressional Budget Office that has contributed to a Republican since the year 2000. But guess what? There have been many staffers within the Congressional Budget Office who have contributed to Democrat candidates and politicians every single cycle since.
So that means they can't count. That means they can't put numbers in order and then add them, create a sum.
Cry more, bitch.
I know, right? They can't count because they haven't given money to the Republicans. They have given money to the Democrats. And Caroline, listen, I'll tell you why that is. Republicans don't like them. They don't like math. They don't like, they think that counting is woke. Why would they try and get you elected? You, Caroline, are a gigantic liar. You are lying about them right now. Why would they try to promote that? You want them sacked and thrown out of the government anyway, so that you can just make up the numbers and tell everybody what the numbers are. You'll just make them up on the fly. Standing behind that podium, she'll lie right to your face, tell you what she wants the numbers to be, and then when they're not, no one will notice because it's the people who are supposed to count will have been fired. Why would they donate to that? Doesn't even make any sense. Hey, let's give some money to the party that's going to fire us all and call us all liars every time we tell them something they don't want to hear. There's a reason, Caroline, they don't donate to the Republican Party, and you can't comprehend why. You're such a gigantic super liar that you don't know why they won't support you. It's fantastic. Let's keep talking about this. The GOP bill for Trump's agenda would add $2.4 trillion to the debt. Of course it will. Because it cuts taxes for the wealthy people, the people with the money. And if they don't pay, nobody does. The end. That's all there is to it. The wealthy aren't going to pay, so nobody's going to pay. So we will have a deficit, a debt. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office also found that the House passed legislation would increase the number of people without health insurance by 10.9 million. 10 million people kicked off of their health insurance because they don't want the rich people don't want to pay the taxes for the poors to get health insurance. They hate this idea. They hate you. They want you to die, and they don't want you to go to a doctor because they don't want to help pay for it. President Trump's domestic agenda is projected to add $2.4 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years, according to the new estimate from nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. The figure is slightly higher than the earlier version of the bill, 2.3. The budget office also estimated that the package would increase the number of people without health insurance by 10.9 million because of the spending cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Damn it. The long-awaited new score factors in a series of last-minute revisions GOP leaders made to placate holdouts before the House passed the legislation last month. The changes include a higher state and local tax SALT deduction and provisions that trigger the Medicaid work requirement sooner than the original legislation did, because they hate you and they don't want poor people to get stuff. So you have to work to get your Medicaid. They don't care if you're disabled. They don't care if you're starving. They don't care if you can't find work. You don't get benefits. If you don't work, you can't get benefits. But what are they going to do to make work easier to find? Nothing. They're going to cut business taxes for businessmen so they can have more profits. That doesn't make jobs. It never has. Tax cuts don't make jobs. Never have, and they never will. Republicans love that shit. That gets them rock hard, man, to look into a camera and tell you we're going to cut the taxes, and then the job creators are going to use that money to hire more Americans. They get rock solid when they say that. It's a lie. It doesn't make any sense, and it's never happened once, but they love to say it. Lowering taxes does not create jobs. Demand creates jobs. When there are people demanding services, demanding work, demanding products, someone will step in to fill in that need, to fill that demand. That makes the jobs. The thing that creates that demand is people with money, healthy people with health insurance who want more stuff and to buy stuff. Demand creates jobs, not tax cuts. But Republicans are not allowed to say that or to know that. And when they hear me say it, if a Republican were watching and they heard me say it, they don't actually hear the words. They just hear a static sound. They just hear a weird staticky noise that they don't understand. And they don't know why it happened. They're like, that weirdo Waldo just started speaking static all of a sudden. Let's see. Overall, CBO and the Joint Committee on Taxation found that over a 10-year period, the legislation would decrease revenues by $3.7 trillion while cutting net spending by $1.3 trillion. So they are cutting some spending on these programs by less than the stuff they're doing.
CHER1, I demand jobs.
Thanks, KBP. I swear I changed that to something else, but I still like a smiling Biden. Thank you. And you do, in fact, demand jobs. The legislation is now in the hands of the Senate, who are probably not going to pass it. There's also that poison pill of a judicial thing that's hidden within this budget. It's really complicated. It's very big nerd stuff, and I might have mentioned it a week ago, but I'm not entirely sure. There is a very hidden little line item about courts in this budget bill and how the courts can't use their budget towards certain things. And those certain things are nationwide injunctions. When the president does an illegal thing, a federal court, will look at it and say, that's illegal. You can't do that. And they will stop the government from doing that. Johnny hates this. Republicans hate it when it happens to them. When the courts do those injunctions, and they do in Alabama to stop people from getting mifepristone, the morning after pill, or the abortion pills, that's good. They love that. They love it when the court does a nationwide ban on shit they don't like, but they hate it when the court does a nationwide ban on the things they do like. And instead of doing some complicated thoughts and having ideas within their head about why the people don't like it or why it's illegal or why they want the thing that is illegal, that sounds like introspection. They're not going to do that. No. They're just going to call the judge a racist, Marxist, liberal, activist nightmare monster. So that is the problem Donnie's having. Donnie loses in court almost every time. Almost every time he loses in court, because court is where evidence happens. And evidence is presented and people pay attention, and then they gavel, and then they tell you that it's illegal. It's not a politics game. It's not a poll. It's not a opinion-based area in the courtroom. It's all facts and logic and evidence. So he can't lie right to your face and then get away with it like he can on TV. When he does that on TV, when he does that on Joe Rogan, when he does that on that TV news, he just lie all the time. Nobody cares. Nobody stops him. But court, that doesn't happen. Oh yeah, what's that? A Frosty. Throw it in the freezer for me. Thanks. Yeah, I know, that was cool. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, okay. So there's a poison pill inside that bill that would stop them from doing the nationwide injunctions, which means they would not be able to stop like anything. The federal courts will be worthless, useless, and unnecessary if this bill passes as it is written in the Senate. And there's also, I think Maytag talked about it. Let's see. Where's Maytag? There she is. Maytag freaks out after she finally reads the bill she voted for. She did vote for this thing in the House, but it has a thing in there that she didn't like, but she didn't read it because she can't read. I'm telling you, man. I would have, okay, let me put on my Marjorie Taylor Greene voice. I would have voted no if I had known this was in there, she said about the provision of the one big beautiful bill that the House passed last month. She voted for. She freaked out on Tuesday after finally reading the big beautiful bill that she voted for a few weeks ago. The GOP-led House has a controversy that could lead to millions of people getting kicked off of Medicaid and losing eligibility for supplemental nutrition assistance programs called SNAP. She doesn't care about that, though. But she was upset that about AI. Full transparency. I did not know that the section on pages 278 and 279 of the OBB that stripped states of the right to make laws to regulate AI for 10 years. I am adamantly opposed to this, and it is a violation of states' rights. I would have voted no if I had known it was in there. Green noted, we have no idea what AI will be capable of in the next 10 years, and giving it free rein and tying states' hands is potentially dangerous. We would be stripped out in the Senate. She demands that it be stripped out in the Senate. She didn't read it. She doesn't know what it is. But she is a moron who is terrified of AI. I also don't like AI all that much. I appreciate it when it's reading funny words for me, when it's a robot that I can control and reads things for me.
Robot.
But what I don't want it to do is take away all the good and important jobs in the creative and pleasurable jobs that the people have to do. I want it to take all the shit jobs, make it drive a truck across the country, make it do law. Nobody likes being a lawyer. Make it do the menial labor, make it do the hard stuff that people don't want to do. And then the rest of us can make music and movies and YouTube and art. Don't let the AIs do the art. Art is nice and fun and pleasant. It's a human thing that humans ought to do. Don't let it do your voice acting. Son of a bitch. Pay a voice actor. Find someone who has a nice voice and hire them to do the thing for your show instead of hiring a damn AI. It's garbage, and I hate that part of it. I want it to do all the hard work, the shit work that nobody wants to do. Not the fun work that everybody should be doing in their off time anyway. Let it do the hard work and we get to be more leisurely. But the people who hate you don't want that to happen either. They want you to suffer and be miserable forever. So this is probably something to do with crypto and AI and Palantir, who I think we'll talk about here in just a minute. The AI companies are going to, I've said it before, but it's going to be a terrible cycle of AI company sweet talks Trump. He allows them to build their own power station, their own electrical plant. He's going to allow Zuckerberg himself to create a gigantic coal-fired, wood-burning, and also nuclear burning. He's just going to burn the coal. He's going to burn the wood. He's going to burn the nuclear material. And it's just going to belch out all kinds of disgusting, noxious fumes into the air so that he can create electricity. That electricity will go into gigantic racks and racks and racks and racks and miles and miles and miles of wires to run artificial intelligence that will pretend to be a human being on Facebook. And that facility will need lots of water to cool it down. So they'll drain all the lakes, they'll drain all the rivers, they'll spend all of the water in there just so they can have a human AI sell you an ad for crypto coin on Facebook. It's the whole thing. It's what they want to do with it. And then you, being not a moron, will see that it's an AI, not a real person trying to talk to you, and then not talk to it and not buy the AI or buy the crypto coin. The dumbest of us might do that, and they might buy that crypto coin, and then that crypto coin will have to go through the bit mining process, and then you'll have to go through the the certification process or something like that with the bits, and then that certification process will need a bunch of graphics cards, which are all running at full speed and requiring a lot of energy and requiring a lot of cooling, and then you'll have your worthless currency, and then we'll all die because the world is polluted, all of our resources have been used up, and there's no more water to drink, and we will all suffer and die so that Zuckerberg could have a fake person sell fake money to an idiot. And then we all suffer, and then we all die, and then there will be no human race left. We will have nothing left. That's what we're going for. That's what I think this is. And if you see that coming, when that process starts, when you begin, when that begins in, I don't know, middle of the country somewhere, when Zuckerberg buys 10,000 acres of western Kansas land to build this thing, and the state of Kansas then tries to stop him using the law, it will be federally illegal. It's not very conservative if you think about it. You know what conservatives like? Or they tell me they liked? It was states' rights. But this is the federal government telling a state what they can and cannot do with the laws within their state. Conservatives are supposed to hate that. Maytag hates it. She's an idiot and she hates it. I don't know what to... conservatives, I'm telling you, man, they don't have any values. They don't have any principles. If it's good, if they like it, it's good. They don't care if it's legal. They don't care if it's illegal. They don't care if it's conservative or not. They don't care if it's conservative or not. If they like it, it's good. And they'll just call it conservative. No. Conservatism is when we deny states' rights for the things we don't like, but allow states' rights for the things we do. You see, it doesn't make any sense if you think about it. If you think about it, it doesn't make sense, in fact. So yeah, they don't know what conservatism is. They don't know what the words are. They don't know what any of this means, but they know that there's money to be made. Then she got roasted. You have one job, read the bill. Instead, you heavily attacked anyone who opposed the bill and helping hand unelected. And God, I can't fucking read and they can't type. Unelected AI contractors, 10 years of unchecked power, then cried, "I didn't know. It's not just dereliction, it's legislative malpractice." She's admitting to. So you voted for a bill you didn't read. MAGA are dumb as fuck. So you voted for a bill without knowing what's in it. It's not surprising coming from you. To be fair, I'm surprised that she can read. So you voted yes on a bill you didn't even read. And you think that's governing. Now, read about the Medicaid cuts, the explosion of the debt, the transfer of the wealth from the poor to the rich, and the erosion of the checks and balances between the three branches, and the judicial time bomb that's going in there. But she's not going to read about that. And if she did, she would be on board for it because she would probably really enjoy a lot of the things that are in there. So yeah, we are being run by the dumbest among us, and I don't know how to stop that. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to convince the people in the middle of the country to stop voting for morons. I don't get it. I don't know why they would want to do that. They love doing it, dude. They just absolutely love it. And I don't know why. Like you point out how stupid they are, and they're like, "Yeah, there's my boy." The dumb one. I don't know why they enjoy it so much. I don't get it. Something I've never been able to wrap my head around. Why do you want to vote for somebody stupider than you? Stupider than your kids, you know? So I was talking about Elon a minute ago, and he did this thing a couple of weeks ago, and he did it again like a day ago, but I hadn't talked about it yet, so I'm going to rant about it right now. Elon Musk wants to save Western civilization from empathy. And this is really stupid, but here we go. Americans are still in the dark about the scope of what Elon Musk is doing with those. This was a couple of months ago. So let's just read what he said. In a 3-hour interview with podcaster Joe Rogan, released in February, Musk talked about his deeply held belief in the conspiracy theory that the Democrats are working to import as many undocumented immigrants as possible so that they can take over the U.S. government forever. That doesn't make any sense. Undocumented immigrants don't get to vote. Idiot. So he's super wrong. If they had another 4 years, they would legalize enough illegals in the swing states to make the swing states not swing states. If they were legal, they wouldn't be illegal. Elon. If they're legal, they're not illegal. He doesn't know what those words mean. He just thinks the word illegal means brown. That's what he thinks it means, man. He doesn't know what any of this is. So in the swing states, to make them non-swing states, they would be blue states. Then they would win the presidential, they would win the House, they would win the Senate, and have the presidency. If you made them Americans, then they voted. They're Americans. They voted for the president. He doesn't get it. He doesn't comprehend that we don't decide who is and isn't a citizen based on how Elon feels about them. He thinks we should. He thinks his feelings should dictate who gets to be a citizen and who doesn't. That's insane. There are laws, and you can write laws to fast track or slow down the immigration. I recognize that it could need to be slowed down in some situations. But right now, it's such a fucking mess that making them legal would be a process. They would then be Americans, and they would be allowed at some point to vote. And he hates that idea. God, he hates that idea. Because they are illegals. Well, not anymore, man. You don't get it. So, wild idea along the same lines as the demote replacement theory. And there are many factual holes in the theory, starting with the fact that it's illegal for non-citizens to vote. Exactly. In federal elections, there's no direct pathway to citizenship for people who enter the country illegally. But what came next in the conversation may shine more of a light on what motivates Musk to cut down the size of government. And it melds with his takeover, purchase, and founding of companies in the private sector. It is the belief that empathy for individuals is costly to the collective. Musk pointed to California's move to provide medical insurance even to undocumented people who qualify for low-income Medi-Cal program. That's fine. I want universal health care even for the people who are here illegally. Because not having people dying, bleeding out on the street is a good thing. But he hates that idea. We've got civilizational suicide empathy going on.
3 Pika.
Musk said, borrowing the term from Gad Saad, the Canadian scholar who's also a frequent Rogan host. While Musk said he believes in empathy and that you should care about other people, he also thinks it's destroying society. The fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. The empathy exploit. There it's there. Christ. They're exploiting a bug in Western civilization, which is the empathy response. He said that empathy has been weaponized. He's a moron and a tech bro, so he doesn't comprehend what he's talking about. Society does not function without empathy. Let's look at the definitions for both of these. So we've got empathy right here. Here we go. Empathy, let's see. Generally describes the ability to take on another person's perspective, to understand, feel, or possibly share and respond to their experience. That's all empathy is. It's not letting people get away with crimes. It's understanding, feeling, and possibly sharing their experiences. Now, what is society? Well, that is a group of individuals involved in a persistent social interaction with a large social group sharing the same spatial or social territory, typically subject to the same political authority and dominant culture expectations. Societies are characterized by a pattern of relationships. Okay, so if we work from those definitions, society is about relationships. If those relationships are antagonistic, hostile, fearful, they won't be sustainable. The right-wing nationalist types, the MAGA faithful, often complain about this incorrectly, using the word degeneracy. They cry and lament about the fall of Western civilization because a person of color moved into their neighborhood, or that our entire society is collapsing due to George Soros' evil plot to get them personally addicted to cuck porn. And how can children possibly learn anything at school if there's a trans person there? These are all nonsense complaints, of course, but they are about the societal relationships. Societal relationships. That's a hard word to say. The MAGA faithful had a relationship with their neighborhood. And if someone who looks different, talks different, and acts different moves in, it changes that relationship. I can comprehend that. I recognize why they're having the issues they're having. If they had proper empathy, they could appreciate that new person to, as it says in the definition, understand, feel, and possibly share and respond to their experiences. They could share things with them. They could understand why that new person moved there. They could recognize that they probably have a lot in common. If you live in a neighborhood, the people nearby probably work nearby. If you live in a suburb, you probably all work in the same big city that's right next door. You can empathize with that. You can discuss with them. You can comprehend how to make your lives better. You can be friendly and decent towards them. The Republicans hate that. They're not going to do that because Fox News has told them about the dangerous foreigners come to ticker gerbs. Their empathy has been poisoned by the media to make more money and control elections, which they want to win so that they can make more money through tax cuts. Elon and the right have it completely backward, as always. I don't steal from people. I know. It would make me feel bad for them. So I don't do it. I respect their freedom. I respect the work they had to do to get the money to buy the things that they have. So I don't take it from them. That's empathy. They hate that shit. Elon hates that. God, he hates that. He wants to take from you. Johnny wants to steal from you everything that you have ever worked for. And he will take it, and he won't give a damn because he has no empathy for you. Even though I don't believe in an afterlife, I won't go around murdering people willy-nilly because I would feel empathy toward the freedom I took from them and the sadness and grief of their families. More empathy means less crime. Imagine a criminal. Most of them have very little empathy for the people that they harm, or they steal from, or they do violence towards. They have no empathy towards these people. If they did, they would be less likely to do the crimes. That would lead to better relationships with your neighbors, less fear around strangers. How can justice even exist if we don't recognize that someone has been harmed and want them to receive some sort of restitution? Empathy means more freedom for everyone involved. That's bad news for Elon because he's not interested in a functional society doing good things for people. No. He wants your money, plain and simple. He wants you separate, alone, and scared so he can sell you the solution to your problems. Worried about climate change? Go buy an electric car from Tesla. Scared of the outside world? Go to x.com and make some new friends. They'll hate all the same things you hate. Fired from your job? Here's an X post telling you that it's actually the woke feminazi transes to blame. Concerned about the economy? Buy some crypto. Don't trust the government? Doge is here to help. The more problems we have, the more solutions he gets to sell you. So he creates problems. Elon, Trump, Zuckerberg, Bezos, Fox News, all of them openly conspire to remove American empathy so that you don't feel bad when American children get separated from their parents because they were illegals. They want you to not give a damn when that happens. They want you to feel disgust that the illegals are even here. They don't want you to feel sad when millions of people lose their health care because they were welfare queen takers and refused to get a job. They will steal from you and everyone around you, and no one else will care because they have had their empathy removed. They want you to feel hatred for protesters by convincing you that they are BLM rioters, Antifa socialists, fascists that hate America and the flag and apple pie. Elon is a gullible moron with more money than he deserves. And he wants our current society to fall so that he can rebuild it in his image. And if it doesn't fall on its own, he will tear it down. How can we have justice without empathy? How can you have a democracy without empathy? I don't think you can. Bam, cut it right there. That's going to turn into a YouTube video. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here while I make YouTube videos live on a stream. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching and chatting. And nobody interrupted me, so that's super cool. I always like that. I didn't have to turn the robot off. So you can interrupt me. I very much want you to. But if I'm really on a rant or a roll, I might turn the robot lady off so that I don't get interrupted during the good parts of the rant. So yeah, that was the empathy thing's been around for a couple of months, but I hadn't talked about it yet, so I wanted to bring it up and get it off my chest, turn it into a YouTube video. What else we got? So we're going to talk about the Iran deal, and then I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on. So, and then we'll call it a night. So what is going on with Iran? It's a very complicated story, but what was the Obama-Iran deal about? Obama made a deal with Iran, allowing them, giving them some of the money that we stole from them. We stole their money. We didn't really steal it. We went to the bank that had their money in Switzerland and said, hey, don't let Iran have that money. If you do, you don't get to do business with America anymore. And America is a very big place with lots of money. So that bank said, okay, you got it. America, you're the boss. So it just sat there, accruing interest, but Iran couldn't use it. It's made them very sad. That was in the 70s, man. So they have been bugging us to get it back and to lift the sanction, the hold on that thing for years. So they also wanted to do nuclear testing on reactors for power reactors. Do they need power reactors? No, they produce shitloads of oil. They don't need the reactors to function as their society works. What they need the reactors for is to move up the tech tree, to become a proper country. At the UN, and again, I know I'm all over the road for this one, but follow me here. At the UN, there's two different types of countries. Those with nuclear weapons, those without. There's an adults table where all the important people sit, America, England, Russia, China, Japan, all the important guys, and Israel, because we gave them a bunch of nukes. With the people with nuclear weapons, get to sit at the grown-ups table. Everybody who doesn't have them, like Iran, has to sit at the kids' table. They would like to not sit at the kids' table any longer, and there's only one way to do that. There is only one way to graduate from kid table to adult table, and that is own nuclear weapons. I don't like this system. I think this is a bad system, but it is the system that exists. It's the system that your great-grandpas, our great-grandpas made back at the UN in the 1920s or some shit. Not happy about it. But after World War II, this is the system that they set up, the United Nations. The people with the nukes get to have power and authority. The people without fuck themselves and get treated as second-class citizens. So Iran would like to move up. How do they do that? Well, they have to start enriching uranium for that. We don't let them send stuff. We don't let them, what's the word? import any of the equipment. If we see that equipment, we stop it, we break it, we maybe even go to war, we bomb it, we might even destroy it physically with military force to stop them from getting these things. And they know that, and they're unhappy about that. So we have to make a deal. This is an actual deal. They want the money that they have there. They want to do this stuff. What are they willing to give us? They were willing, back in the Obama days, to stop funding terrorism, stop funding rebels who are bombing U.S. outposts and stuff like that in other countries. They were willing to allow inspectors to come in to make sure they're not creating nuclear weapons. Trump hated this plan. He hated it. He hated it. He hated it. Not because he understood it. No, he didn't understand it. He didn't know what the hell they were talking about. He didn't know what any of this stuff was. He couldn't have found Iran on the map, and hell, most of the time he couldn't even find the map. But it had Obama's name on it, which means he had to hate it. He had to dislike it. It was not acceptable to let it stand, because if it has Obama's name on it, he has to kill it. Those are the rules. I don't like that rule either. I don't know why Donnie would push that rule. It's a bad rule. Sounds kind of stupid. So he didn't understand what the Iran deal was. He didn't know what it was doing. He didn't know why they were doing it. But now that he's in charge, he's making the same Iran deal. He's just making the same deal with his name on it. This will be the Trump Iran deal. U.S. nuclear deal allows Iran to enrich uranium. So, like, he's doing the thing that Obama did. The proposal described by Axios, two sources with direct knowledge, one of whom provided a point-by-point breakdown, would seem to offer a clearer path on the deal. By making this offer, Trump administration is risking backlash from his allies on the Hill and in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government and dozens of Republican senators have pushed the administration to maintain red lines on zero nuclear enrichment and the full dismantlement of Iran's nuclear program. So Donald Trump has made it clear that Iran can never obtain a nuclear bomb. Special Envoy Witkoff has said in a detailed and acceptable proposal to the Iranian regime, and it's in their best interest to accept it. Out of respect for the ongoing deal, the administration will not comment on details of the proposal of the media. So they're doing the thing that Obama did, except Iran says it won't make a deal that makes them reliant on other countries. Because, hey, guess what? If they had a deal with the last president, and then this president shit on it, and is now trying to remake the deal that was already done, that's stupid. You can't trust any of these people. If Donnie felt like they couldn't be trusted anymore, he would cancel this deal entirely on a whim. And the whim could be from Elon's fucking Twitter. It could be a tweet from Elon that could change his mind. You can't trust Donnie tomorrow for anything he said today. Absolutely not. You cannot trust any deal he's ever made, ever. And they know that. He wouldn't respect Obama's deals. He killed it for no reason, even though they were complying and they were following all the rules set out by Obama. He canceled it anyway. And he will cancel this one whenever he wants to get a cheap, easy political win. They can't bank on this. They can't trust him. He is so chaotic. Other countries cannot do diplomacy with him. That's where they're at in Iran. They don't want to do any deal with him because he's a chaos agent. He's a damned lunatic. I think there was some stuff down here too. Then they gave an update and said they're not going to do it. And then Trump claims the U.S. won't let Iran enrich uranium under the nuclear deal. But up here he said they could. He will let them do it. But here he won't let them do it. This is the chaos that I'm talking about, man. He doesn't know what any of these things are. He doesn't know what they mean. He doesn't know what these words are. He just knows that he can just talk and people will listen. It's not diplomacy. It's random acts of insanity. It's just running around willy-nilly with your hair on fire, telling everybody that your hair is not on fire, begging them to put your hair out because it's on fire. It doesn't make any sense. It's not the art of the deal. It's random number generators, man. We have got our foreign diplomacy is now a random number generator. And if it pops up on a 7, you die. Good luck. If it's a multiple of 4, nuclear war. Have fun. What are we going to do about it? No, but nothing. Donnie's just a moron who flops around like a dead fish. And that brings us to Chuck Schumer, who is a moron, and he wants you to die for Israel. That's what he wants. But Schumer warns that Trump cannot have any side deals. Let's see if I can find his video. I wanted to watch it. Let's see if it's down. Is it down here? Jeez. Let's watch it because it's awful and pathetic. And it's the toughest thing that Chuck Schumer's ever said about anything ever. I think it's right here. Here we go. No.
All eyes on the White House.
Shut up.
When it comes to negotiating with the terrorist government of Iran,
They aren't a terrorist government. They support terrorists because they don't have any other choice. Now, I'm not happy about them doing so. But why do they do that? Because we won't treat them like a legitimate government. Chuck, you're making it worse.
all over the lot. One day he sounds tough, the next day he's backing off. And now, all of a sudden, we find out that Witkoff and Rubio are negotiating a secret side deal with Iran. What kind of bull is this? They're going to sound tough in public and then have a side deal that lets Iran get away with everything? That's outrageous.
Away with everything? What are you talking about? He does a vertical video and puts the subtitles on it so that it'll go viral on the TikTok. He doesn't know what any of those things mean. Viral TikToks, vertical videos, subtitles. He doesn't know what any of that means. But what he wants, what he needs, what he's trying to get to here is that the only acceptable thing that we can do is war with Iran. That is what he wants. He's not going to accept any deal with them. He's not going to accept anything from them except unconditional surrender after we bomb the shit out of them. And that's what he'll push for because he works for Israel. I'm sorry. He does. He works for Israel. He does. And then I'll get in trouble for saying it. But goddamn, he works for them. He doesn't work for you. He works for Israel. And he's talked about that before. Talked about how much he needs to keep the Democrats on Israel's side. I wish they weren't doing a genocide. Chuck, it would be easier for me to be on their side if they weren't genociding all of Gaza right now. And if they didn't really, I think, want to genocide all of Iran. Because that was what would happen when they're done with Gaza. They're done with the ethnic cleansing genocide they're doing there. They will move on to convincing you, to convince the Democrats to do the exact same thing in Iran. And they're not going to like that. They're more of a actual legitimate society than Gaza. They have a middle class. They have a ruling class. They have an economy. They have imports, exports, a military, and very secure bunkers under some very impenetrable mountains. It will go very, very badly. We won't be able to bomb our way out of that. We will not lose. We will not win easily any sort of like aerial campaign. They'll just hide in the mountain fortress until we stop bombing them, and then we walk in, and it'll be a bloody face-to-face gunfight. It'll be miserable. It'll be awful. And millions of them will die. Thousands of our soldiers will die so that what? You can feel better? You can feel more secure? Israel can feel like the people that don't like them are dead? That'll make them feel good. People that don't like us because we do genocides and harm people are dead. And we feel more secure about it. Chuck Schumer wants you to die for Israel. That's what he wants. And he will start a war. Chuck Schumer was unhappy with the Obama deal, back then. Even that original Obama deal that I talked about, Chuck Schumer didn't like. He hated it and he wrote strongly worded letters about it because that's his only skill, writing strongly worded letters. It's not going to go well. It's going to fail. We're going to go to war with Iran, and I don't want to. I would like that not to happen, but Chuck Schumer's pushing for it. The entire Israel lobby is pushing for it. Everybody who's on board with them is pushing for it. And Donald isn't, only because he doesn't understand what's happening. He's a random number generator. This isn't some principle of his. He's not doing this deal because it's the right thing to do and because he really believes it. He's a random number generator. He's chaos. He doesn't know what he's doing at any given moment. So he's just going to make a deal with them to piss off Israel because Israel pissed him off, and he loves Russia until he hates Russia, and he loves Israel until he hates Israel, and then he hates Iran until he loves Iran. He's a random number generator. And what I would like to do is not have giant global thermonuclear wars, but it seems like that's what we're going to get. Let's close that. So what do they say over here? Nothing. He just doesn't want the side deal. He doesn't want these people to get nuclear weapons because and it might be entirely possible. If they get it, they fire it at Israel. I don't want that either. Nobody should be nuclear bombing anybody. I'm a crazy lefty. I apparently just don't want anybody to bomb anybody. God. How impossible, Waldo. Let's see. This was the spending cut. Okay, so this is Kennedy. We'll do this funny thing and then we'll put our tinfoil hat on and then we'll call it a night. It's not often, but this guy, Senator Kennedy, is a Republican. He's an old school Republican, like from the South, speaks with an effeminate accent, is closeted gay, but will never agree to it, and doesn't like all these new upstart Trump ass kissers that are coming in. So he's going to yell at one for a minute, and he's right on the money with this shit. Here we go. We're talking about tariffs.
If Vietnam, for example, came to you tomorrow and said, okay, Mr. Secretary, you win. We're going to remove all tariffs and all trade barriers. Would the United States please do the same? Would you accept that deal?
Absolutely not.
This is exactly what Donald Trump wanted to do. This is what he told us he was doing. He was going to they put the tariffs on us, and then we put the reciprocal tariffs on them, and we wouldn't remove ours until they remove theirs. And so sounds like a deal. Kennedy is describing the deals that Donnie bragged about, that promised we were going to do. He said, they're going to come to me. They're going to come right to me. Vietnam's going to come to me. Vietnam's going to come to me, and they're going to promise me that they're going to drop all their tariffs, and then I'll drop all ours. And this guy's saying, no, we're not going to do that.
Absolutely not. That would be the silliest thing we could do.
Why is that?
This is Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of the Department of Commerce.
Vietnam has a $125 billion exports to us and imports from us $12.5 million.
Because we have the money, you fucking moron. Lutnick, you absolute cretin, you idiot, you ignoramus. We have money, so we use it to buy stuff. If I go into Walmart and buy $5 worth of donuts, in Howard Lutnick's mind, I have a $5 trade deficit with Walmart. And I need to come up with some plan to make Walmart give me $5 so that we're even Steven. No, man, I ate the donuts. I consumed them. They are in my belly now. I got what I needed from them. I had the money. I bought the donuts. I ate the donuts. I got what I needed. I consumed them. It was a consumable. What's the other word for that? Not imbibed, but anyway, the donuts are gone. This is not a trade imbalance. I gave them money, they gave me a good. I give people money, they give me a service. Great. That's how the system works. He hates this. He wants all the stuff from Vietnam and all the money back. That's what he wants. He wants Vietnam to give us the stuff. And then we trick them somehow into giving us the money back too. This is called robbery. This is thievery. This is con man shit. He would probably do like the small time con shit where you do that complicated bill switcheroo thing that you see on the YouTubes every once in a while. You give them money and then you ask for change and then they don't have any change and then you give them a different bill and then you take the other bill and then you walk away and you made $10. It's a very classic con. And that's what he wants to do on the global scale, to steal from anyone that can't defend themselves. And Kennedy doesn't understand how this is supposed to work because he is an old school Republican and knows how things work.
And you're thinking, Vietnam exports 125 billion?
I'm aware of the figures, but tell me.
But where do they get it from? They buy 90 billion from China, then they mark it up and send it to us.
So you would just...
If they're buying 90 billion from China and then selling us for 125 billion, I don't believe him. I don't think that's how that works. If they were, they're playing middleman games, which is what he wants to do too, which is what Lutnick wants. He wants to play middleman games. Buy the stuff from China at a discount. You could, if you know this, Secretary of Commerce, tell people. If you know this, Secretary of Commerce, put the word out. Let the companies and the people, probably companies, buying things from Vietnam know that they could get it for 20% cheaper from China. They would thank you for it. They would say, good job, Howard Lutnick. High five, good job. We love you. You would have brought prices down technically. But instead of just telling us where to buy the cheap stuff, he's going to create an impossibly convoluted, complex plan to charge our companies more for buying it from Vietnam so that instead of that, they'll build companies in America and build plants in America to build the stuff. And then we'll have the jobs and we'll have the money and we'll have the stuff. Not going to work. Just tell us where to go buy the cheaper stuff if you know.
Just a pathway of China to us.
You wouldn't accept that deal.
No, it's a terrible deal. We're the one with money. We're the one with the store. Of course they want us to take down.
What's the purpose of reciprocity then? Is reciprocity not one of your goals?
This is what Donald Trump told us would happen, that he would put the tariffs on, they would all cry, and then they would come begging for us to take the tariffs off. What if they come crying to take the tariffs off? We're not going to do it.
Are you telling the president that we shouldn't seek reciprocity? If that's what you're telling him, why are you trying to do these trade deals?
What do we want? We want to encourage Vietnam to produce products they're great at producing.
But I want to get back to reciprocity. You just said you don't believe in it. You don't accept reciprocity as a goal. What are you negotiating in these trade deals?
Why would we open our bank account?
What are you negotiating in these trade deals? Says the Republican to the other Republican. And I'll tell you, they want money for Donald Trump. They want money for themselves. This is a shakedown. This is extortion. Vietnam needs to come here and stand next to Donald and give him a high five and tell everybody how great he is and how smart he is and how he's actually the God Emperor. And everything he's ever done is correct and right and proper. And you should elect him 7 or 8 more times. That's what they want. They want them to pay Donnie some sort of tip. Give him a plane. Qatar did that. That worked out really well. They liked that. Give him a plane. Name something after him. Let one of his businesses set up shop in your capital city. Let him own a tower in your country and put his name on it. He'll love that. He wants bribes. That's what he wants. That is what we're doing here. We're not doing you put a 10% tariff on us, so we put a 10% tariff on you. Let's all come to an agreement on how to get rid of them. No, bribe Donnie is the plan. And then I think he goes on again for this one.
Tell me your understanding of the Trade Expansion Act.
I don't have a really good understanding of the term. I may know the act, but I may not know its title.
You're not familiar with the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 that gives the president almost unlimited authority to impose tariffs so long as you conduct an investigation? You don't know about that?
Oh, my 232s. Of course I did.
Oh, of course I did. He's the secretary of the Department of Commerce. He doesn't know any of this stuff. Meritocracy doesn't exist. Well, it does exist, but the Republicans don't do it. They bitch and moan, they piss and whine every day. Every time they see a lady on the TV, they think, did she get there by sleeping her way to the top? Every time they see a lesbian type woman with the short hair in charge of something, they scream DEI. Every black person they see in a position of authority, they scream affirmative action, DEI hire. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't get chosen because of his merit. He got chosen because he kisses Donald's ass and he will help Donnie get bribes. If you will help Donnie get bribes, he will promote you. He will give you a great job. He will put you in charge of an entire department. If you help him get paid, he will. I never want to hear a Republican or conservative ever talk about meritocracy again, because they have clearly don't know what it means. Meritocracy means white guys getting what they want. That's what they think. That's what it seems to mean. They think it means everybody's equal. They're not doing that. They're not playing the equal game. They're playing white guys in charge. That's meritocracy. Every time they see a person of color or a gay person in charge of something, they scream bloody murder about how it's not meritocratic. Yet they hire morons who don't know what they're talking about. They hire Christy Nome to be in charge of DHS. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. They put that other lady with the skunk stripe in charge of spies, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. Neither do I, because I can't remember her fucking name. The point is, they don't actually want meritocracy. They just want white guys in charge. All right, let's go. Let me get my hat. If you're watching, if you're paying attention, hop in the chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. Going over to the Discord. Bam, right there. Going over to the Discord and leave links to fun stories if you want to watch if you've got something that you think I should talk about or would be cool to watch. Leave links there and I can bring them up on screen. We'll feel them all out together. It'll be a good time. So what is next? The last thing to talk about tonight is I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on. It's coming. There it is. Best hat on the internet, the tinfoil hat. All right, what do we have to look at tonight? It's Palantir. Palantir. It's even got an evil name. Palantir. Palantir. What's Alex Jones got to say about Palantir? Let's go. Alex Jones, defending Palantir. He's on board for Palantir. He's okay with it. Let's find out why.
Everybody's asking me about Palantir. And when you look at it and you understand it, Palantir and the surveillance systems and the AI and all of it has been an outlier from the bigger companies. And it's been wanting to get big contracts. And Trump wants to use it to track illegal aliens and stuff, and the real ID that they're trying to bring in that's terrible, that never got implemented because it's unconstitutional. So I've been critical of all of that, and I obviously don't trust Palantir and the rest of the stuff it's doing. But it is small compared to all the other big AI.
Databases are out of line.
Yeah, exactly. Here, listen to this part. This is the part. This is the important bit.
All the other big AI and the Pentagon Sentinel and all the rest of it, the reason you're seeing the attacks, Pentagon Sentinel and all the rest of it,
hang on.
small, critical of all of that, and I obviously don't trust Palantir and the rest of the stuff it's doing, but it is small compared to all the other big AI and the Pentagon Sentinel and all the rest of it. The reason you're seeing the attacks on it everywhere.
See, the important thing to remember, guys, is that Palantir is small potatoes compared to the things that he made up. You see, Palantir is small, unimportant in the grand scheme of things compared to the lizard aliens. Okay, compared to the energetic vampires that are sucking out your vital essences from the extra dimension. Palantir is not such a big deal. You see, and that's the problem. You see, Palantir is a real thing. Conservatives are only afraid of unreal things. They're not scared of real stuff. They're afraid of their imaginations. Conservatives were terrified of Ebola. There's no way they're ever going to get it. But they're not afraid of COVID, which killed lots of them. They are afraid of hellfire and religious going to hell, but they're not afraid of like being an asshole to their kids, forcing things on them. They are terrified of Obama's gun grabs and the gun registration database, but they are totally cool with Donnie using all of the information that's ever existed to a private company to track the illegals and only the illegals. That doesn't scare them. Obama scares them. Donnie doesn't. They're terrified of George Soros buying votes. Elon's allowed to buy votes. That's fine. Elon is allowed to pay people to vote and give away millions in a lottery. But if George Soros does that, well, you see, that's a problem. That's corruption. They're afraid of, what was his name? What was that? Jimmy Carter owning a peanut farm and then writing laws to benefit peanut farmers and signing laws that benefit peanut farmers. So he had to sell his peanut farm. But Donnie gets to keep his hand in all his businesses. He gets to keep all his stock. He gets to own a hotel where Saudi princes pay gigantic, super amazing, huge fees for hotel rooms, and then they never show up. That's fine. That's allowed. But Dems aren't allowed to own anything while they're in government. Palantir is big and nightmarish and dangerous, and it's going to harm you and me and everybody. But it's nothing. It's small potatoes. It's peanuts compared to the imagination of Alex Jones. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to have the real stuff. The thing you need to be worried about is the unreal stuff, the Jewish space lasers. You need to be afraid of those. You need to be afraid of the billions of illegals rushing across the southern border. You need to be afraid of the welfare queens. None of that is real, man. They're only afraid of things that aren't real. And it boggles my mind. Reality stares them in the face and they will just say, not real. Imagination sneaks up and they're like, everybody panic over the thing we imagined that isn't real. It's disturbing, man. Trump's flipped on us. MAGA reacts to potential national citizen database because that's what they want to build with this Palantir thing, a national citizen database. White House has contracted Palantir, a Colorado-based analytics company co-founded by Trump supporter Peter Thiel, I don't think Peter Thiel's a Nazi. He is something so much worse. He's the oligarch. He's the guy who will build the system that is in 1984, right? He's the 1984. If you've read the book, you probably haven't. I have. I read it, but it was probably built by a guy like Peter Thiel. Authoritarian, yes. Nazi, no. Compiling a database of personal information on American citizens, according to the unnamed government officials and Palantir employees who spoke with the New York Times. The purported deal follows projects like talks Palantir had with the Social Security Administration and Department of Education. The reaction from Trump supporters reflected growing unease within conservative circles, indicating a rare rupture between the president and key segments of his constituency. The controversy underscores nationwide anxieties around privacy, civil liberties, and growing influence of technological firms over personal information management. So how are they going to deal with this? Well, they're going to have Alex Jones and all the people on Fox News tell you that it's to corral the illegals. You see, you don't have to be worried about it. You're safe. You're fine. Yes, do they have all your information? Yes. Are they listening to your phone calls? Yes. Are they looking at every single thing that you've ever clicked on? Yes. But settle down, calm down. No, don't freak out. Don't panic. They're ignoring that and using all the information that they have to find the illegals, to find the leftists, to find the un-Americans and deport them. Get rid of them. Put them in political re-education camps. You see, you're going to be fine because you're a good, right, honest citizen, aren't you? Better say nice things about Donnie, or else he will maybe use Palantir to find out who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. And if you've ever said anything bad about him. So yeah, what is this one called? This one's Palantir in the Age of Authoritarian Entrepreneurs. Because yeah, this guy's an authoritarian. Yes, he's not a Nazi. He's not right wing. He's not left wing. He is his own wing. He's rich enough to have his own party. Through the Trump administration's countless erratic attempts to cripple, remake, and simply take more direct control of every part of the government, one theme has emerged: a fixation on data. Aside from the mass firings, getting access to government databases was one of the Department of Government Efficiency's primary tasks. Under the guise of eliminating bureaucratic duplication and inefficiency, the identification and elimination of waste, fraud, and abuse, a March executive order demanded that agency heads rescind or modify all agency guidance that serves as a barrier to the inter or intra-agency sharing of unclassified information. Putting aside the enforceability of such an order, the intent was clear. Whatever the reason, Americans' personal data would now be made maximally available to the executive branch, who then will give it to Palantir, who then will do whatever they want with it to make as much money as possible. Like I was talking about with Elon earlier, they will make new problems, then sell you the solution. They will create dangerous places. They will use your data to sell. How many spam phone calls do you get a day? I get dozens. Not kidding. Dozens of spam phone calls a day. I ignore them. I recognize for what they are. But if this guy sold all my information to the spammers, he would make some money. But then he would sell me the spam blocking app, and I would pay him for it. He gets paid twice. It's an arms race. That's why this data shit is so dangerous. It's an arms race. They will sell it to the people who are going to do you harm, and then they will sell you the thing that prevents them from doing you harm. They're going to sell weapons to both sides of the fight. And there aren't just two sides, there are hundreds of sides. They will sell data to everyone involved, and they will sell mechanisms to prevent you from being harmed when your data is out there. And we'll slip into a type of oligarchy. The government will stop being functional. The judges won't matter anymore. The Senate won't do its job. The House won't do its job. Nobody will do any of their work. The president will just make up laws willy-nilly as he deems, as he whims every single day, as he sees fit. He will just decide what to talk about every day. This is illegal today. It won't be illegal tomorrow. And you don't have any idea what's happening on Wednesday. It's not even close. You can't even imagine. And this guy and all the tech bros will be capitalizing on all of this stuff. Capitalizing. Capitalism. They will be making money, selling your data, and then selling you the solution to having your data being sold to somebody else. And they will get richer. They will start buying more politicians. They'll buy more land. They'll pay Donnie to just overlook their crimes. They will buy up government land and nobody will stop them. like I said with earlier about the power plant, they'll start building robots to cut down trees to turn into electricity that they use to create fake people that they then charge you for money so that they can plant more trees. It's just insane, and it won't make any difference. They will produce nothing. They will create nothing, and they will become wealthy. Gathering resources will be a job that pays pennies. Manufacturing those resources into useful products, pennies. But stealing the pennies from the workers, that'll be worth dollars. Scam economy is where we are headed. We are headed towards the biggest, craziest scam economy that the world has ever seen. No one will have seen any. It'll be big. It's going to be biggest scam economy in the entire history of the world. Crypto scams, phone scams, data harvesting scams, identity theft. All of this is going to be on the rise. All of it. And you will suffer because of it. They will take from you everything they can. And you will have no restitution. There will be no justice. There will be nothing you can do about it. It's been a real downer of a stream. But I've got some ice cream waiting for me downstairs. I know it doesn't help you, but we still have ice cream. I don't know that I can turn that around. The gun register, everything's going to suck. Everything's going to get worse. And the only thing you can do is kind of watch and hope that things get better and direct people to move to the left. It's not easy, but tell people to move to the left. Tell people to come watch. Tell people to talk to your neighbors. Talk to your coworkers. Tell them to move left. Tell them what a good idea it is. Tell them how great it is. Don't use words like proletariat and bourgeoisie. That'll chase them off. Be like, hey, doesn't it suck that they own everything now? Doesn't it suck that they sold all our data and then sold us the solution to us not having our data? Just try and convince a few people. Turn some people to the left, and you'll feel better about it too.
Tell them we have the best cookies.
Tell them we have the best cookies, and then make them some cookies. Just saying. I'm going to go get some ice cream right now, and now you want some ice cream too. And that is it for me tonight. So I appreciate everybody who's here. Thank you very much. I know I'm cutting it a little short tonight, but I didn't have much else to talk about, and I didn't want to start playing a video game. But if things slow down, I might start playing games. I don't know. The viewership always tends to fall off when I start playing a game anyway. So I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Shinsinto. Thank you, KBP. And he cheered once, so that's super cool. He gave me a penny. That's super cool. It's one more penny than I had when I woke up this morning. So if you want to contribute, hop in the chat, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. Go on over to the YouTube page and watch the you can watch all of these on the live thing, or you can just wait for the compressed versions to come out, which is cool too. And that gets me some views. I think that's it for me tonight. That is it. I love you. Goodbye. I will be back on Saturday unless the Gestapo kicks in my door and drags me off to the gulag. Or I go to jail for killing motorcyclists.